What things are said to be dangerous but are actually safe? Heavy metalers, most of them are real kind-hearted people that will support the fact that you have an individual way of thinking. Sure, they can be very vocal when they need to, but the tougher they look, the softer they are. Living in big cities in the US. By absolute probability and given the population sizes of these cities, the true likelihood of you becoming a victim of a crime is actually very low. The news and media blow it up because if it bleeds, it leads. Wolves. They're not dangerous to humans naturally. Many people in Finland are afraid of wolves attacking, but no one has died since 1800s. And even then they were helpless babies sacrificed for wolves. Also, you're not going to die if you drop your phone into bathtub. There's not enough current for it, as long as it's not in charger. The charger might kill you. Roller coasters. Some people are worried about their safety on them, but it's like one of the safest activities you can do, lol. You're probably more likely to somehow injure yourself standing in line than on the coaster. Next time you're on a coaster, try wiggling out of the restraints on the lift hill. You're not coming out of that thing. Roller coasters are designed with extreme safety standards in mind, and are made by physicists and engineers. People have two fears, of heights plus the forces you'll encounter, and the fear of the ride malfunctioning. You can get over the first part by trying the ride. The second part, well, your odds of getting hurt on a thrill ride are 1 in 250 million, and your odds of death are 1 in 750 million. You're much more likely to die on the way to and from the theme park. Also means you're more likely to win the Powerball twice before dying on a roller coaster. Being a cop in the US. Most of the deaths are in motor vehicle accidents caused by them, with a huge percentage not wearing seatbelts. Being a gas station clerk is much more dangerous, but we're expected to fund the cops like they are met with a hail of bullets walking out their front door every day. Letting children play outside. MSG. Pit bulls. They're just cuddly babies. Daddy long legs. They can't kill you with their venom. Swimming under 30 minutes after eating. MSG, it's a perfectly safe food additive that makes your dishes so much more flavorful, and it's literally almost everywhere. Stingrays. Half the posts on r/OSHA. Having a foreskin. MSG, basically racists decided that we don't deserve tastier food. Flying commercially. Sleeping with a fan on. LSD, mushrooms, DMT, etc. Cannabis. Eating food and hopping in water soon afterwards. Monosodium glutamate, sold commercially as accent of food enhancer. Eating then swimming. High voltage electricity, voltage is mostly harmless, it's the amperage that'll get ya. The Bermuda Triangle, I literally spent years dreading that I'd somehow end up there and never return in my tweens. Rare to medium steak. Johnny Depp. Swimming G after eating. Smoking weed or eating magic mushrooms. There are still many PPL who think it is worse than alcohol, but it is actually the other way. Both are drugs you cannot die from, at least not from an overdose. But from alcohol there are dying 3 million PPL a year, and it is still the most popular drug in the world. Provided proper research and respect is given, psychedelics are actually healing and have been proven to help in psychotherapeutics. You'll catch a cold/flu by going out with wet hair. Viruses don't care if your hair is wet. Electricity, as long as it's maintained and you respect how it works. Being offended, nothing happens. Literally nothing. Wading in the ocean. Scuba diving, winky face. Weed. I'm sure this will not go over well, but 2 things Reddit loses their minds over and that you're never allowed to say aren't quite as bad as everyone on here seems to think: not constantly obsessing over STDs, and not wearing sunscreen every single time you leave the house. Cooking pork to less than well done. Most mushrooms. Microwaving cup noodles. Maritime women. Cracking knuckles. Eating gum gets stuck in your stomach, but it doesn't. Video games. If you are American, Kinder eggs. Kinder eggs in the US. Doors. They don't actually attract gunmen. You can have plenty on your house and still be fine. Kids playing outside unsupervised. Deadlifting. Eating silica gel. Airplane crashes. They are pretty rare. Only about 5 in 2021, they average less than 10/year in the last 30 years. Car crashes are not rare. Skydiving. A very well-regulated sport. The gear is usually good and well-maintained. Injuries more commonly happen when people push the limit, low turns, high-speed landings, etc. When an accident or fatality happens, you always hear about it. You don't hear about the thousands of jumps made safely worldwide each day. I had an ophthalmologist tell me you can't ruin your eyesight by sitting too close to the TV, just like you can't damage your nose by smelling too much. Being in the school police in Uvalde, Texas. Foreigners. Australia. Swimming within a half hour of eating. Driving barefoot. They recommended it over driving with sandals, high heels, or loose-fitting footwear. GMOs. Going outside with wet hair. Walking through bad neighborhoods. Roller coasters, for the most part physics is on your side for safety. Those high rope courses. People act like they're a slip away from doom, but you have to remember, if it's open to the public, the risk of death is 0%. They will be legally destroyed if anything happens, so the safety measures cover people dumber and heavier than you by a margin wider than your mama. Nothing is dangerous if you know what you're doing, and anything can be dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. Pumping your own gas. Looking at you, New Jersey and Oregon. Walking in dangerous parts of cities in the worst parts of America. If you're there to find trouble, trouble will find you. Mind your own business. Most house spiders. The majority of them are harmless, and the ones that are dangerous aren't out to eat you. Hiking alone in the mountains. Eating a cup of ramen noodles that were microwaved. Sleeping after a concussion. Having the car light on while driving. Eating raw egg. Roller coasters. Drinking your own urine. Who doesn't like recycling? Lions. Opie, why not go find a wild one and give it a big juicy hug? Strangers I meet on the internet. Nothing is safe. You could be 10 seconds from death at literally any point in time and not know it. Marijuana. Step on a crack and you'll break your mother's back. Well, my mom's back has never been stronger. Carbs. Not only safe, but healthy in most instances, and crucial to many bodily functions, including muscle growth and nutrient variety. The anti-fat pendulum has really swung too far in the opposite direction. Hot air balloon rides. Pit bulls. Deceased persons. It's a myth that they're dangerous and could spread disease to living persons. Solo vacationing to Colombia, Cali. Skydiving. Quicksand, not as quick as you think. Walking alone at night as a woman. You need to be aware of your surroundings, but it's not like there are people waiting to jump you in every corner. Swimming on a full stomach. Using a cell phone on a plane. Nuclear power. Using a cell phone while you're pumping gas. The whole idea that it's dangerous is an urban myth. No one ever caught fire by using a cell phone pumping gas. Flying. Think of the last time there was a multi-million-dollar government investigation for one car crash. You can't. This happens whenever a single plane crashes, because it's just that rare. If planes were dangerous, the government would be bankrupted within a year from all the investigations. Anything the government tells you I'd unsafe. Atheism. Message. It just tastes awesome. Swallowing chewing gum. It's completely safe. Driving really fast. It's actually the sudden stop that is dangerous. Swallowing gum. Takes a day to digest, not 7 years. Your neighbor. There is a 99.9% probability they aren't a psychopath. Putting styrofoam to-go plates in the microwave. You bush berries aren't poisonous. It's their inner seed that is toxic. The fruit itself is safe to eat, albeit a bit slimy in texture once popped. Skydiving is safer than driving a car. Microwave. Eating holly berries. A person I know talked to tribe members and they taught her lots of stuff. Which one of those was this fact about the plant? If you want to try them, aim for the darker and softer ones, they're the sweetest and don't swallow the seed, it's pretty big. I don't know about not dangerous, but my ex used to put the foil takeout containers in the microwave and my face when it didn't light everything on fire was probably something else. Aluminum utensils and pans. Turning on the overhead light in the car while driving. Take outdated medicines. Cheetahs. Going under step ladders. Unions. Swimming after eating. Every parent seems to agree that you have to wait at least 30 minutes before swimming. I was that rebel kid and I'm perfectly fine. Free speech and democracy. Electroshock therapy is actually helpful. Watching an engine explode on our Boeing jet and landing perfectly safe. Quicksand. Monosodium glutamate. It's delicious. It loves you. Give in to the umami. Homemade booze. Drag shows. The state of Texas is trying to ban them. But 0 children have been killed at drag shows and a whole bunch have been killed at school. Doing cyanide. You should try it. Black people. I'm black people. Whenever I fly, my mom makes me give her my flight number so she can make sure I didn't crash, watch the flight in real time, etc. I mean, statistically she should harangue me every time I get in a car, but no way I'm telling her that. Regular expressions. That if you hit yourself on the head when you're cross-eyed, your eyes will stay like that. I've tried it like 67 times and I'm fine. Guns. I'm in the military and work with them every day. There is a common misconception pushed by the media that guns are dangerous when in all actuality is the people using them for bad purposes that are the problem. I have instructed and armed up countless people and have never once had an incident where summertime was injured. Guns aren't dangerous, people are dangerous. Unpopular opinions. Car lights are illegal while driving. Kinder Surprise eggs. Waking up someone who's sleepwalking. The worst that can happen is they get startled and try to hit you, so keep a little distance. Growing up, we used to think it was dangerous to go swimming after eating, but clearly it was wives' tale. No one is gonna get a cramp and drown because they ate before going swimming. Microwaves. Microwave rays, against what you may have been told, are actually harmless. Apple seeds. Yes, apple seeds contain dangerous poison, but you would need around 130-ish of them to actually kill you, and you would need to crush the seeds first to release said poison because your stomach acid is too weak to dissolve them. Not only are they not as dangerous as we have been told, but they actually help with many psychological conditions. Faced with tears of joy, it's unfortunately way too easy to politicize an issue and then leave the remains in the dumpster for years and years. It's only recently picking up again in scientific research. Michael Pollan has written an excellent book on the new research. Worth it for anyone that still thinks you can end up believing you are a tennis bat for the rest of your life faced with rolling eyes. Psilocybin, when used correctly, is safe and healing. Nuclear power. You get more gammas and zingers riding in a plane and at a doctor's office than at a nuke plant. Running with scissors is safe, it's falling with scissors that's dangerous. Overdosing on marijuana. It's physically not possible. Uranium. Swimming after eating, sitting too close to the TV. Cutting towards your body, you have way less control when cutting/slicing away from yourself. Leaving a fan on when you go to sleep. Moose hunting. As long as you remain extremely far from the moose, it's actually very safe. Elemental mercury. Eating raw cookie dough. The joy of eating the concoction outweighs minimal risks. Taking a plane to go other country, literally it's safer than driving a car. Turning on the light in the car when your parents are driving. Message. Peanuts on a plane, especially post-pandemic with better ventilation. If you have a life-threatening allergy, you'll be fine as long as no one within 1 to 2 rows of you eats them. A lot of reactions to trace amounts of peanuts from several feet away are actually psychosomatic. Not to say you won't feel bad, but you won't die. A lot of people with allergies panic if they smell the food or know someone is eating it, and that can cause a reaction. Trans people. Guns. Drinking, consuming raw milk and products derived from it is incredibly safe. Last time there was a supposed death caused by it was 15 years ago and it was disproved. Using a Ouija board. Google ideomotor effect. Rock climbing, as long as you use common sense and use a well-made harness and rope brand, then it's completely safe. Guns, hot take. Smoking weed. Pit bulls and other bully breeds. A gun. Guns, used properly. Abortions. Perfectly safe, laughing face. Being an insurrectionist. Apparently, it's just fine in the US. Legally owned firearms. Raves. Any weapons if you know how to handle them and it isn't held by someone trying to actively kill you. Third world countries. Avoid undercrowded places and have some basic street smarts, and 90% of all third world countries will be safe for you travel. Glyphosate. Being vegan. Workers' unions, the exception being police unions. When your union has guns, you're a gang. Women in power. Gun laws. Firearms if you know basic safety rules like, don't look down the barrel and never put your finger on the trigger unless you're ready to fire, and don't point it at another living being looking at you, Baldwin. Chicago, at least most of it. A lot of people are under the conception that tucking is dangerous. If you know how it's done correctly and don't tuck for more than 4 to 8 hours, it's harmless. Eating raw cookie dough. Been doing it my entire life. I'm fine rolling on the floor laughing. Firearms, handled with common sense, they are entirely safe. Liberal education. Being 5 feet 11 inches away from someone not wearing, or wearing, a mask. Conservatives. Filling your gas tank while the car is running. San Francisco. Using a gun. 99% of pit bulls, the rest are ruined by their owners. Eating cookie dough. The reason cookie dough would be dangerous is because it contains raw egg, which can make you sick if you have too much. If your cookie dough is vegan or you only have a little, then you should be just fine. LAPD won't stop you unless they see you commit a crime. Anesthesia less dangerous than crossing the road. Liquid nitrogen. Staring at a TV from up close. It basically has the same effect as it would from a distance, or so I've heard. Credit cards and investing. Morbius transformation. Play the Russian roulette, it's not dangerous, it's 1/6 dangerous. African American neighborhoods. Seriously, AAs are pretty based people. Pit bulls if raised correctly. Also, weed. Aspartame, I'm stunned I went through almost this entire post and didn't find it mentioned. It's literally the most scientifically studied food additive in human history, yet there are still people who think it's harmful. Trans woman in woman bathrooms. Firearms. Millions of them do absolutely nothing every day. People are the real dangers. Guns. A well-maintained gun is very safe. It's the person holding it that stands to be a danger. Guns, it's the dumb people that use them that are dangerous. Serving in the US military is safer than not. Cough firearms? Firearms if you know basic safety rules. Racists, most of them just us vile verbal language but wouldn't kill or fight someone, although of course there are exceptions, but everyday racists, mostly safe. Roundup, glyphosate. GMO corn and soybeans. Silicone breast implants. Small doses of ionizing radiation. Azodicarbonamide. Nuclear power. Voting for Donald Trump. A conservative point of view. Eating most wild berries. Most pit bulls. Vaping. The Royal College of Physicians and Public Health England have deemed it to be 95% safer than smoking cigarettes. From time to time, you see someone post something along the lines of drink deionized water is dangerous. As if it will dissolve your bones and fry your brain. It's not, so that. Bungee jumping. Everyone I ask to do it with me say it's unsafe. It's one of the safest activities. Yup, the crashes are just more dramatic. Motorsport. Turns out that guy in the beat-up van really was giving out free candy. Airplanes. Fireworks, as long as you observe the proper safety precautions, get out of the way quickly after lighting and don't do stupid things with them. The main problem is that the people doing stupid things tend to get all the attention. Walking with scissors. People of color, bro, we ain't bad at all. You just see the couple of cases at your country that we did and then forget that you too have cases of you our own citizens? Also, we are not the people who did the crime, we are different. Eve heard nuclear power is very safe these days. Redheads. Not sure why everyone's afraid of them. Wolves. Scorpions. Mostly. Drinking from the hotel minibar will actually not put you in debt for the rest of your life. Using mobile phone at petrol station. Protesting. A lot of drugs, many of which are safer than legal ones. Most illicit drugs. Talking to strangers on the internet. Showing my mom a song I like, I know she won't mind, but still makes me nervous, lol. Turning on the map light while driving at night. Cutting wood, most people cut wood in a day. It would be weird and scary to a certain point to see somebody cutting wood in the backyard, especially since you are using an axe, even more threatening if using a chainsaw. Showering during a thunderstorm. Me. Just driving a car, all the car commercials with the fine print that say professional driver on closed course, do not attempt, as the driver literally drives around a city. People think that paramotoring is dangerous. And I get it, it's a giant fan strapped to your back that pushes you through the air while tied to a glider. Motorcycles have more fatal accidents every year by a long shot. Preservatives in food. The bacteria and mold growth that would happen without them is a lot more dangerous to you than trace amounts of chemicals. Eating potatoes. Like you could literally die by eating potatoes, but it's really rare. Getting an epidural if you have a tattoo on your back. Sitting close to a TV. Drawing on yourself will not kill you or give you ink poisoning. Please always say it does, but in reality we always draw on a small portion on our bodies. They are acting like we draw on 80% on our body. It isn't going to kill or do anything. Psilocybin. Table saws. Sticking a metal object into the earth/ground pin of a socket. General anesthesia. Most poisonous plants. Poinsettias, for example. Some people like to caution others that it's unsafe to have them around pets or children, but it only causes nausea and irritation to eat them. Just like eating lots of other things that are not food. Cold weather. You will not catch a cold from being in the cold. You catch a cold from viruses or bacteria usually brought about by being indoors with other people who are trying to avoid a cold. Riding in the back of a pickup truck bed. LSD, if in the right environment. New York City. Everything that looks scary, but you're tethered to a harness. I hear tell that, when handled properly, dihydrogen monoxide can be quite safe.